Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday, November 10th, 6:00 p.m., meeting of the Whately Housing Committee. So, meeting is called to order. First order of business is approving the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was October 13th. Montserrat has done her usual outstanding job of, my personal opinion, capturing everything, view the minutes. They look good to me. So pending comments, I'd hear a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
The motion has been made by Jerry. Is anyone brave enough to second that motion?
Second.
All right, Fred Orlowski has seconded it. Right, roll call vote, starting with the maker of the motion, Jerry.
Yes.
Fred Orlowski.
Yes.
Fred Barron.
Don't get to vote.
You don't get to vote. Well, okay, I'll try to remember that. Thank you. I'm voting yes. Montserrat?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. Our minutes of October 13th are approved. So let's get into our next agenda item, discussing the Community Preservation Community Plan. What I'm going to do, I've been looking at it, I'm going to just share my screen so I can have that so everyone can see. Hopefully you can see the CPA project priorities for community housing. I will say before I yield the floor, and I saw Jerry's note, I saw some questions about that, but I'll simply say that I looked over the plan. I didn't see anything that struck me as needing. I saw two places where they refer to a master plan, which is, ooh, wait a second, maybe Paula's coming. Hold on. We've got her way. Paula, is that you? So she's muted. All right, well, I'm gonna press on. I can't see Paula, nor can I hear Paula, if that is indeed Paula. So we've started our meeting and we're going to press on. So regarding community, so hopefully Paula, if she's hearing us, will be able to, oh, you've come off mute, Paula, is that you?
That's me.
All right, very good. It's good to at least hear you. All right, welcome. We were wondering if you were going to be able to join us tonight. All right, so we've approved minutes. We're from October 13th. We're into discussing the Community Preservation Committee plan. And Montserrat, you are our representative to the CPC, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I've looked over the plan, didn't see anything except there were references down at the very end. Very end under, where am I getting to? Sorry for the scrolling. There is just references.
Page 14.
Was it page 14? Thank you, Jerry. It's page 8. I saw references to a master plan
No.
instead of a comprehensive plan. Here we.
Sorry, that's the different. I was looking at that.
Yeah, I should just search for it. Here, these would be, general criteria on page 7. 2 references there to a master plan. So very minor, almost not worth it. But so Jerry, I'd like some clarification. Looks like here in the community housing section, you had some recommendations related to this text and maybe the next table. Is that
Wait,
correct?
before we move on, Brant,
Yes,
are you saying that it should be changed to comprehensive plan instead of master plan?
yes, I would. I mean, it's my opinion, given that a new comprehensive plan is under development for the town by the Franklin Regional Council of Governments under a grant. We have funding, and my understanding is that that is the new term.
Okay,
There was something called a master plan, but anything going forward will be the comprehensive plan.
okay, I will let them know.
So I would recommend just that wording change under, I think I saw it under general criteria. And it looks like maybe we'll just simply say, well, there was a 1994 master plan. That's what it was called then. So this first reference seems reasonable and shouldn't be changed. The second and third reference to the word master should be changed to comprehensive. And it does look like the fourth reference as well. So if you search the document, Montserrat, for the word master, you'd find four places where it appears, three of which should be changed to comprehensive.
Why don't
Okay.
we just ask to change it to master or comprehensive plan?
I like that.
Fine, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
So that's our recommendation there. And so Jerry circulated an email about this. If you could, so I guess Montserrat, being our representative to the CPC, our mission tonight is to give Montserrat enough clarity on our recommendations so she can take those back to the CPC. So Jerry, the floor is yours.
All right, so if you could go back up to the beginning of this section, which
Yes.
is page 4, there is reference to the American Community Survey. That's an annual update, depending on the size of the community. Whately falls into the 5-year cycle.
Okay.
This basically replaces the 10-year census data with a lot more fine graining.
Okay.
The 5-year is being released on December 11th. This data is very stale, how I think I would frame it. But I would wait until that survey comes out, and then whoever's, let's call it the administrator behind all this verbiage, should then incorporate the most current information so that we all understand what's happened to Whately. It would be interesting to compare what happened from 2025 to, or 2024 to 2020. That was my first point.
Great.
My second.
Montserrat's busily typing away.
I am, and it's possible that when I formalize these minutes, probably tomorrow, I may have questions for Jerry, but as for now, I think I got it.
Okay, and I did have this question, Montserrat. Given that Jerry says this new data comes out, say mid-December, is there a particular deadline for the CPC to have this plan, or is it a living thing that can be revised?
No, it's the deadline is actually it might be this year. But when I said that when it was possible that we were going to meet next week instead of this week, I said, oh, we might not have another housing committee meeting before the next CPC meeting. And Alan said, that's fine, get to it when you get to it. So that makes me think that it's not urgent.
Okay.
So it could be done in January.
Sorry, what was that?
So it could be done in January?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. So the recommendation is that these changes be made as soon as reasonably practical when the new ACS is released.
And then who makes the changes?
I don't know.
My impression, my speculation, given that Judy Markland is a writer, great writer, and is the chair of the CPC, that she largely drafted this plan and would be the primary editor of it.
And then it's approved by the CPC in a meeting with input from all the relevant parties.
Okay. And then you had another piece of feedback, Jerry.
Yeah, a couple. The next paragraph refers to definitions, assume, of low and moderate income.
Yeah,
Low is less than 80%. That is correct, but it can go all the way down to very low, 30%.
okay.
Moderate income, it's saying, is below the HUD area-wide median income, and I'm not sure if that's the case. I believe that 80% is considered the median income. The median income is very high. Just we'll get to that maybe in a second. But I'm not clear on what that sentence is trying to say in its second component after the semicolon.
Okay, so you're referring to this particular clause in the plan.
Correct.
So maybe the recommendation, unless we tonight have specific new language to recommend, which it doesn't sound like we do, we're asking them to review this language for correctness.
Yep.
If I had to guess, it looks like moderate income would be between 81 and 100% of the median.
Yep. 88 and 100%. Yep. Yeah,
With-
they keep the stats as high as 120% for people that are developers that are handling affordable residential real estate. You can get
Yeah, the wording of this looks to me like below 100%, but above 80, which would qualify as low income.
good. And so it'd be helpful just to insert that in there.
Yeah, so maybe if I'm hearing it right, this would be rephrased as moderate income is between 80% and 100% of the HUD area-wide median income.
Is it possible for someone to type that in the chat so I can copy it?
Sure.
Yeah, so moderate income, again, it could go as high as 120% of AMI. So this, tying it to the HUD area-wide median income, I'm not sure that that's accurate, but perhaps the author can tell us what the thought process.
I can just ask them to check the
Explain it.
data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next question was.
Just hold on one second, just so Montserrat understands. I don't believe we have any chat capability on the
Oh, okay, that's
town,
too bad.
so I can't do that. Go ahead, Jerry.
Next paragraph, the first sentence makes reference to the ACS, but excludes Sunderland. Why would you exclude Sunderland? I'm not sure what the reason for that is.
Maybe they're above the 10%. For a house, low and moderate income. They're what's it, the term, that's SID or whatever for
The SIH, yeah.
IH? Sunderland could be above the 10%.
But typically, median income applies to the county regardless of what towns in the county would have completed their 10%. So I'm just not sure. Again, a question for the author.
I can
Why-
just ask, why is Sunderland excluded?
Yeah.
It'd
Okay.
be interesting to know.
Yeah, if we need to discuss this at our next meeting after we have more information, I think that would be fine.
Yep. And then obviously this is very stale data that follows the years 21, 20. You should be able to get current.
And
Same
then you
with,
send around a link, Jerry, to current. In fact, it looked like there was current data at that link you circulated.
there's some current data, but it's not from the ACS. That's where a lot of this detail, such as the income distribution starts on page 5, is going to come from.
Yeah. And I'm sure this was pulled from the housing production plan, which
Right.
is a couple of years, is already.
Right.
out
So
there.
just by contrast, they were showing Whately's median family income in 2020 was 95,104. That was in the paragraph above.
Right,
According to censusreporter.org, it's now 126,000
Well,
using 2020. I'm sorry, from World Population Review. It's now up to 126,000. So it's grown substantially in the last 5 years. So I'm just saying refresh. I also would like to clarify the difference or note the difference between what is family income versus household income. Household income typically refers to one person is in the house and there's their income. The median family income, which could be higher, refers to two or more individuals. That comprises a family. So a household is a single person. A median family, a family is a grouping of two. And so again, it was confusing to me, and I would just say, I'd confirm when this person is showing these different incomes, is that household income what she means by family income? I would imagine so, because I
so are
don't,
you saying they're used interchangeably and they shouldn't be?
yes,
Okay.
correct. But it's basically saying by definition of what is a household, there 25% of the town is single earner making 150 grand. I find that hard to believe. So I think this just might need to get cleaned up a little bit.
and maybe there's a recommendation here of just, to the extent we're using these terms like family income and household income,
Yep.
that the plan explicitly define those terms and define them correctly.
Right. Same as area median income. That's another one that they talk about. So, but again, it's grown. If you go just below this table, you see that 2023 reference,
Yep,
the 98.6. According to Mass Housing, that family of four, it's now $120,000.
Hmm.
So I'm saying we just the data is stale, but the conclusions that people may make as you consider what you're doing with your town's affordable housing, you ought to have the accurate data. That's my point.
great.
The same happens in that attachment 5 that we were looking at, page 14.
Yep.
I
Okay.
do have a question there. Maybe Montserrat can.
This is on page 14, you say?
Yeah.
Okay, here's page 14, attachment 5.
I'm not sure the source of that first quote under CPA project funding. Is that a state mandate? The families have to be less than 100%, which is considered moderate income, as Mr. Barnes was pointing out. And that communities may choose to limit to families earning less than 80%. If it's 80% or lower, I believe that's when you can get into the SHI.
What is your question?
I guess my first question is, what's the source of this big quote?
Yeah, I was
Is it
thinking, yeah,
something-
yeah,
is
where did
this-
this,
Is that something that we have to abide by, or
it looks, so let's look at this link, Jerry. Because there's a footnote here at the end of the second quote. And if we jump over the link in new tab. So this is not a Whately thing.
okay,
So,
got it. Now I can see it. Yeah.
and let's just see, let me just, so you can see how to reproduce for yourself where this link
Yeah, I'll
is. And
study.
then let's see if they just yank text out of this. Because this sounds like the quotes are from the official guidelines. HUD income guidelines are used to determine.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
typical.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
the,
it looks like this. So this might be, this page looks like the source of the quotes.
got it. Okay, I'll go study that a little bit more.
Okay,
My overall comments I think I've made on this section. One consideration is this 80% cutoff relative to the units qualifying for state subsidized housing inventory. Meaning if you do this project that we're going to talk about and it's set at 80% AMI, I'm wondering if potentially that means none of those units qualify as affordable housing. It has to be below the 80% figure. So I guess that's something I can look into a little bit further.
okay.
But typically 80% is affordable housing. It's workforce level housing. So
All right, so that sounds like no changes here to this page because it's all quoted from this outside guidance.
right, other than the data is stale, that you're
Right.
scrolling through.
Right, okay.
But I'll look into this 80% threshold for SHI. Does that mean you have to go down to this, the next level down is 60%, relative to, it goes 60 and then 50, and that's where Section 8 typically kicks in, and then 30%.
Okay,
But I'll look into that a little bit.
okay,
So that was my questions on that section.
okay, all right. So I'm just going back to the plans bullets, which are community housing project priorities. Any other, assuming that Jerry's gotten his comments out, other comments or feedback about these project priorities? Fred Orlowski? And I guess Fred Barron, you can comment just as well.
Yeah, no, it looks generally fine to me. I did not look in that great detail.
Yeah.
As Jerry did.
May I make one additional comment on this, on the
Yeah.
bulleted priorities? The
Sure.
last one may be okay as an add-on to bullet number 2, but there's no reference. The priority is Whately residents and town employees for newly available affordable housing, not the affordability of, I don't know if you even want low, but moderate income and senior housing. Should that somehow be enhanced, or is it okay the way those 2 bullets are written, as long as they're grouped together in this project priorities?
Just looking at some, looking at the first, second, and last bullets here.
Right.
So
Maybe the word give should just be include as a priority.
yeah, I do wonder what that. I do wonder what that last bullet really means in a list of priorities. It's a priority.
It looks a little like it might supersede the other priorities, which is what caught my eye, but it maybe just needs to all be wrapped into bullet number 1, including.
So combine the first and the last bullet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking might make sense.
I think that makes sense.
I don't know that wordsmithing this
Yeah.
carefully is really necessary, given that we're probably not gonna have competing projects.
Yeah.
And we have to see which gets a greater priority.
Yeah.
We would have one project at a time and CPC would consider it.
I mean, what I might, yes, and at
Reason
best
I'm-
I might.
I agree with what you're saying, Fred. We're not in the business of producing affordable housing. But when you get ready to go to the housing authority, which I assume is the Franklin Regional one, then you sort of, in concert with them, would create a menu of what the priorities would be. Is it the 80% AMI, first the 60s, then the 80s, then you're a senior, then you're a Whately resident, and finally you're a Whately town employee, and then you're everybody else? Because oftentimes, especially if seniors are involved or you're in an area of need, you wind up in a lottery situation. And I've seen situations closer to Boston where you might have 100 applicants for each unit of housing. I doubt that's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it will be important to think about the scale ranking of what are you trying to accomplish here. So
Mhm.
Okay.
that's why I just put it there. But I agree, it's probably, I don't see the harm in moving the two together, but if you don't want to take the time, I think that's okay too.
Yeah.
So again, read what if you combine those 2 points together, how would that read?
I don't think we were going to suggest wording. I think we were suggesting as feedback to the Community Preservation Committee that they
Oh,
look at these priorities and consider combining what they want to say in the first bullet with what they're saying in the last bullet.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's as specific as we ought to get.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Any other comments that we want to pass back to CPC about this plan? Okay. Hearing none, I think we can close this topic. And Montserrat, when is the next CPC meeting?
I can tell
And they're,
you.
I guess they're going to be dealing with the proposals, right? Their proposals are due in December.
Oh, sorry, it was actually delayed. It's now going to be on November 19th.
Okay, all right. All right, well, we'll see what they say, and if they have feedback, anything they want to send back to us for us to discuss at our next meeting. Okay, so let's move to resume conversations about 268 State Road. And, you know, I don't necessarily expect anyone had a chance to really look at it, but I did really thanks to the reminder from Montserrat's minutes, I did circulate that material about the friendly 40B. And after
Yeah,
looking it
super.
over, you know, it seems like we've done most of the groundwork. Now it's where we were our discussions last time, like trying to see if we can start to line up developers. But I came away feeling good that there is a pathway to, you know, we don't have to do any complicated necessarily zoning bylaw changes to accommodate affordable housing developments in town through this friendly 40B mechanism. So,
Yeah, the
know
next
enough
step
about
is
it.
finding a developer who's interested.
Sure. Yeah. So Jerry, have you had been able to make any more investigations or inquiries?
So I think we still have a couple of steps ahead of us that would help, and I appreciate you doing the friendly 40B because it's a helpful way to look at it and frame it. I had a chance to go through it. I didn't see anything that I disagreed with. First, the approval of the wastewater treatment plant. Montserrat had a discussion with the Conservation Committee, made the recommendation that I reach out to the health department to attend one of their meetings and talk about it. I think we should get buy-in from the health department before we even get to the developer, so that you can say, as part of the friendly 40B, we've cleared this hurdle, this hurdle, this hurdle.
Mhm.
I don't know. I haven't seen any health department meetings scheduled. should I reach out directly to whoever runs the health?
Yeah, that's Fran Fortino.
Yeah.
You should ask him.
Yeah, talk to Fran. He would know
Okay.
all about that.
Okay. My second question that I had for the group that I think would be an important step. Typically, if you're looking for affordable housing, you're going to wind up in front of a housing authority that's going to work with you to issue guidelines as to what the priorities can be. And I assume, but you can correct me, that the Franklin RHA, Regional Housing Authority, is the main representative in here.
Yes.
Do they oversee that 2-unit building
Yes.
up by Town Hall?
Yeah, they manage it.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there a contact that I could have to call and say, hey, we're starting to think about this as a project. We'd like to talk to you about what we'd like to put there and get your feedback relative to everything from this prioritization of Whately people, seniors, yada, yada. Is there somebody?
I don't know who the current contact is.
Okay.
Either Pete Kane or Jess Murphy would hopefully know.
Just look on their website, that would tell you. Should tell you that.
Yeah, sometimes there's a name that's helpful to know to talk to. So I'll look at that website, Fred. Oh, and also I'll check with Pete and Jess and see if they have a contact.
There could be a name for the last agreement we have with them. I don't know if that person's still there though.
Well, that's exactly it. They have turnover there, and I don't know if
Yeah,
whoever was the last person is still there.
right. And what I'm probably looking for is not I don't know how it's set up at this housing authority, not the basic administrative staff person, but whoever the regional director is to connect with, because it's an important hurdle to jump over.
And what would you be asking them, Jerry?
Well, I wanted to bring this group's feedback to them, but I think we need to consider, and this is what I would discuss with them, what we can certainly describe the project. Here's what we want to do, but you have to be careful to say these are our priorities. Otherwise, you're going to wind up potentially it becomes a Section 8 project that anybody in Franklin County, which means mostly Greenfield, is going to drop in vouchers versus we're going to do this at 80% of AMI, which is so far above what a voucher pays and certainly above FMR. This housing authority, according to my calcs, is paying at 113% of FMR, which is very high. Typically, housing authorities are around 100 to 105%, at least in the Boston area. So they're aggressive, but by example, their payment standard for a studio apartment is $1,209. At 80% IMI, it's $1,675, so it's not even close.
Okay.
I oversee I'm consulting on a community in Framingham in which the housing authority is paying above that 80% AMI rent. So it's actually better for the owner to get the vouchers. The other good thing about having a voucher is that you get very low turnover if that's who's in your building. The same would be true of seniors. You're going to get, once you get them in, they're going to stay in. And so I think that's what you're really aiming toward, not a revolving door, but it's a question of what are the priorities that this group would like to have. Is it seniors first? Is it our percentage of SHI? Is it?
So you're saying you want to find out what Franklin Regional Housing Authority's priorities are?
No, this group's.
This group,
Yeah.
okay.
Right, because you coordinate with the housing authority, because eventually you wind up in a lottery, and your lottery is going to have priorities, and that lottery priority list has to be approved by the housing authority.
Yeah.
The
So you
developer
want to feel them out and see if they would be supportive of the same things that we're looking for?
correct.
Well, you could look in the agreement we have, and I don't know if there's language in there on that given priority to Whately residents or the Spice House that we have now that they manage.
How would I get a copy of that, Fred?
I'll send you a copy.
Okay, great.
That's coming up for review and approval again in 27.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
it's comes up every 10 years.
Do you happen to know if the current residents are in any of those priority buckets?
I don't know.
Yeah,
What's
I think
the
the residents
what's the
who are
name
currently
of the
there have
document
been
that
there
you're
a
sharing?
while. There's not a lot of turnover there.
yep. Well, typically that's very true, especially if it's a Section 8 voucher, because the waiting lists are so long to get onto the voucher program, and then the number of units are fairly limited in the area where the people can drop them in. So
So, Fred, what are you going to send Jerry?
Copy the existing agreement with the Franklin County Housing Authority that has with the town of Whately for the Smikes House.
Okay.
and do you care on the specific order of priorities? I want it to be a Whately resident. I want it to be a senior, Whately resident or town employee, then a senior. I don't know if we need to finesse it in this discussion, but I'm just trying to put it out there that they're going to triage through a lottery process applications, rank them based on these different levels.
Oh, that's interesting.
Where does veterans enter into that? Is there a certain category for veterans, or are they just under the senior or low income?
I've not run across veterans as a class. I don't know the answer to that, Fred. I'll look.
And, of course, that brings up, I mean, that's an interesting point about veterans, given that the CPA plan that we just discussed makes no reference to preference for veterans.
Right.
So it seems to me that whatever our priorities ought to be, we should make sure they're aligned with the CPC plan. So, everything is in concert.
Well, veterans, the other thing I thought about is handicapped or disabled individuals. Is that have any bearing on any of this? We're looking at helping them or not, or they have to meet the other criteria?
I think they'd have to meet the other criteria. There's some communities that are restricted. You can do an age restricted 55 and older community.
Yeah.
But people with significant disabilities that aren't at age 55 can still be granted residency in these communities. So that often becomes its own touch point relative to the seniors and the 20-year-old with significant developmental disabilities. But I don't know. I'll look into the veterans. I don't believe disabled it's not a protected class, but I don't know about being a ranking class relative to the lotteries.
But we,
Having not thought about this very deeply, catching this kind of cold tonight, my feeling is that our priority here overall is we need to increase the number of units generally in town on the SHI inventory.
Right.
Because so whatever we need to do, that is the most important thing. And then I wouldn't want to over constrain it or over prioritize it. I'd see I would then want to give preference where possible per the CPC plan to Whately residents and Whately town employees, and really leave it at that, unless there is really a need to slice and dice the preference rankings finer, because I don't necessarily know that I have a problem. Again, I'm just speaking kind of off the cuff here without having thought about it very deeply. But if I don't know that I have a problem with affordable housing units in Whately being used by people who don't live in Whately. I mean, my preference would be, where possible, to make sure Whately residents get to benefit from this. But I would not want to block that.
but if you get people working in Whately, that doesn't mean that they actually live in Whately or are a resident of Whately, right?
Right. That's right. That should be fine too. So yeah, I guess
Grant, one
residents.
question.
Go ahead.
What does SHI stand for?
The subsidized housing inventory.
Thank you.
This is what comes up in that 40B conversation, right?
And
There are
you
these.
currently have the two, right?
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
need 10.
We need, 2%, we need to get up to 10%.
So in this futuristic building that we're trying to work through, you only need 8 units that qualified SHI, which is likely below 80% AMI. Everything else could be market rate, or depending on the financing that the developer is seeking, could still be workforce housing up to 120% of area median income. And everybody would be
Yeah.
comfortable with that versus 25 units of affordable.
I mean, given how difficult this is, I'd like to, I would like to have some negotiating room around this.
Yep.
Like if a developer is like, well, I'll give you your 8 units of SHI, that everything else is market rate, or I'm walking,
Yep.
then, I'll take it, take the 8 units of SHI. But if we have some room to maneuver around those other units, or getting it up to more like 25%, or get other things in there, then maybe I want to think about our priorities in that respect.
Yep. Got it.
It seems like it would be great to have a little bit of a cushion. So if Whately's population grows, we wouldn't be scrambling to build
Yeah.
another unit.
Right.
I doubt Whately's population is going to grow an awful lot in the time frame we're looking at.
Yep.
Given that it hasn't for 100+ years.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
that
But
right?
there are new federal incentives to have lots of babies, so don't forget that, Fred.
Oh, okay, so we may grow by 12 people instead of 8.
Yeah, but is that such a bad thing?
I'm not
You
saying it's a
know,
bad thing. I'm just saying it shouldn't. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Right, the
Schools like
recent
that.
survey that everybody filled out once again, the priority was to maintain the historical integrity of Whately. So I'm just wondering, Brent, you had said, other people could come in and you wouldn't be adverse to them coming into Whately and that's great, but are they going to come in and live for 3 to 5 years and then move out? I that's not what I would hope to see for Whately in the future.
Well, that's gonna be hard to get a handle on, because I don't think today we know how many people are in that category, or actually how many people rent units in town. We have no idea.
Yeah.
They're not even some aren't even residents, and they rent units in town. And they come and go, I guess, is whenever.
As do residents, we have people in my own neighborhood who bought a house, built a house, moved into Whately, and then a year or two later, they're selling their house and moving away. I mean,
Well, we can't control who comes and goes. I mean,
Right.
we try to build what we want, and then people will use it.
Yeah.
So
The term that's thinking about it, that's kind of not defined, and it's gonna really be subjective, is whatever development is put in wherever, that it fits into the character of Whately. What do we mean by the character, the rural character? We want no more than 2-story buildings. We want something ranch style. If you get a 6-story building on DeMaio property there, does that fit into the character of Whately?
I think that's where public hearings come in.
yeah,
I mean, but should we have I don't know, a position or a guide as to what we would consider acceptable for the character of Whately?
I think maybe not yet.
No, but,
I do feel like from what I saw on this 40B stuff is that, first we need to be able to be engaged with a developer, some candidates, and see what room we have to negotiate. At this point, we don't have anybody interested in doing anything.
And I think, quite frankly, to your point, Fred, if you put a mid-rise building in the historic part of Whately, that doesn't make sense. But this is sitting on a lot across from a repair shop on 5 and 10. And I think you could make a very beautiful building that might be 2 stories or 3 stories high, wide, that could be done with, look like a farmhouse type style. That would look actually kind of cool on the side of the road as you enter into Whately. But that whole stretch from where that is up through the diner and up over the highway doesn't have, to me, the feel of anything other than haphazard development along the way. I'm not trying to be critical of it. I'm just saying it just sort of, it looks like it evolved over time.
Yeah, it just has a state highway look to it. It's not
Yeah.
like the center of town.
Right,
Yeah.
but you could make it a very attractive building
Yeah.
that I think would complement what you're suggesting about the character of Whately without being, it's not a pink elephant on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And again, I think that whether the community thinks it is in keeping will come out of public hearings and discussions.
Yep.
Rather than being dictated of what constitutes, what aspect of community character we're going to insist upon.
Right, and a developer would be very sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Coming in, so,
Okay.
okay.
So Jerry, there was something at the very beginning of this conversation that I realized I've maybe lost the bubble on, and that is this water treatment facility. So can you just help me understand or remind me, refresh my memory, like how you see that piece of it is so, like, how does it fit into the scheme, and why do we need buy-in? Like, I'm just a little puzzled around that. I apologize, I lost that.
Sure. So the concept of the wastewater treatment plant as a principle is it's an underground unit, takes up 400 square feet of your buildable lot versus a leach field
Right,
that would take either build it under your parking lot or along the sides of the building, would allow you then to have more green space, offset it a bit, the building a bit from the road.
I see.
If it was financially viable to do podium garage parking on the bottom level, apartments above with an elevator,
Yep,
then that would really, I think, be pretty nice, because then it's a small buildable lot, not in a great area. But the concept would be simply that the wastewater coming out is so clean, it's pure enough to be dumped right into that stream,
great.
which I hope that Fran can take a review of and say, yeah, that makes sense to me.
And
So the
And
idea is,
it-
go ahead, Fred.
if I can, sort of expanding what Jerry said, it's a much smaller footprint than a septic system.
Right?
Therefore, it gives you a lot more flexibility of what you can do on the lot.
Right.
Right.
But we're not let me just make sure, we, the housing committee, using, trust funds or whatever, we're not proposing, were we to get this kind of buy-in and approval from the Board of Health, we're not proposing to actually go forth and build one, right? It's just basically kind of make sure this would be something that could be built into whatever the design is.
Yeah, exactly. Because as I said, it gives you much more flexibility in designing what you can do, because it's 400 square feet that doesn't have to be this big flat excavated
Got it.
surface that can't be built upon with anything else.
With a bunch of sewer pipes sticking up.
Right, with a bunch of pipes sticking out.
So,
It
okay.
just is a more flexible, makes the lot have more possibilities.
Right.
So
And go ahead.
So let me just say, so the idea is, we check this all out. We sort of say, we've confirmed that this is doable. This would be the kind of technology or designs you would use. And it's basically, we can't say it's pre-approved or pre-authorized to a developer, but we could say this is kind of would be baked into the whatever we discuss with the developer, so that they could then take more fuller advantage of the lot.
Correct. And you have the fiscal advantage of owning the property with not producing revenue that you could trade for the $450,000 worth of cost to have this unit installed, which the developer would have to suck up otherwise. So you're helping to lower their costs. I did talk with the gentleman that started that, Greg's Septic.
Yep.
I met him at a recent retirement party for somebody, and he said, hey, that technology stuff is amazing.
Huh.
He said there are different iterations of it, but he said it's a very creative way for places that are limited in their space to deal with that, where they don't want to have huge leach fields. So
Okay.
he's very
And related to that, another important point from my discussion at the Conservation Commission is that the map in that initial plan is incorrect as far as where the wetlands are,
Mm,
and there isn't an updated survey of that. So any developer would need to have a company come in and survey the wetlands and flag it before doing anything.
makes this alternative even more important. I
Mhm.
bet.
I assume that they would do that under any, not trust another survey anyway, given
Right.
something that if it didn't turn out right, could get torn out.
At 600,000 a unit.
Right.
You know, I have some concern. I hear what you guys are saying about the a water treatment plant there, and I'm not sure how Conservation Commission or even Board of Health is gonna react, but we shouldn't, to me, the developer should be aware of that option or know that that can be done there. And for the town to say, well, you can put a water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant in there, kind of puts some liability on the town to say that, well, the developer could say, you told me I could put that in there, and now I'm trying to figure out how to do it and design it.
But they would still have to go through the whole permitting process.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and they would
Right.
know that.
It's just to present options to a developer,
Yeah,
But I
to
would think
let
that
them know that
they would
this may be an option.
they should know that when they're looking at land to develop, whether what are the wastewater, stormwater options for the parcel. I mean, I don't know what how Board of Health is gonna say, yeah, that will work, septic system will work too, but we don't know how many units you're putting in there. It's all gonna depend on the number of units, the size of the building, and so forth, so.
Correct. I was just trying to sort of cross the T's to see, did the Conservation Commission have any rub with this as a concept? I think it would be helpful to also have the Board of Health say, conceptually, it seems okay. And then coordinate with the Housing Authority to say, yeah, we think we can do this, so that in the interest of reaching out to a developer, you're bringing some thought processy to the table that they can work to fine grain and sign off on.
And you're also bringing to the table a possibility to relieve one of the difficulties of that particular lot,
right.
Correct.
which has no doubt scared off developers in the past, is that it is a lot fraught with environmental difficulties.
Yeah.
And if you
Correct.
can
We
try
can
to
alleviate that.
assuage one of them, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I like it. I definitely like it. Okay. All right, well, we're getting close to the hour. Anything else that,
I've got one other thing. Jerry, your contact at FERCog is probably going to be Megan Rhodes. She worked with us on the housing production plan, so she's likely their housing person.
That'd be at
and
the
I
Franklin
have
RHA,
Megan's. I have
M
Megan
Rhodes at FERCog.org.
and she represents the RHA.
No,
I don't know, but if she doesn't, she will know
Okay.
who is the contact.
Okay, great. Thank you. Very helpful.
yeah, and
But
she did the lead work on our housing production plan.
Right. So even if she's not the RHA person, she works with housing and will know exactly who you should talk to.
Terrific.
And she'll be excited. I
Right.
think she'll be thrilled to hear from you, Jerry, that
Right.
Whately is really starting.
That
to-
something is happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred Orlowski.
The other thing, I finally was able to make a contact and talk with the landowner on LaSalle Drive extension there, whatever.
Okay.
I met with him a couple of weeks ago and said the town may be interested in doing some kind of housing project on your.
Fred, excuse me, which of the two lots? The one at the end or the one in the
One
middle?
at the end, the one at the end.
Okay.
The one at the end, and told him, town may be interested in either in working with you or purchasing or coordinating a housing project on your property there. He's actually got two parcels. One is, the second parcel is actually there's a pond back there, whatever. He didn't say, no, don't bother me. He says, I'll think about it and I'll get back with you. Well, it's maybe been 2 weeks or whatever, so I guess I'm still hoping to get an answer from him one way or another to know whether that's maybe something, another possibility to look at in the future.
Okay,
I think we should work on DeMayo property first, and
yeah,
But
I
what,
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
we've
think we've
got-
got the resources to go in multiple directions at once.
but I guess what I like, he didn't come out and say, don't bother me, I'm not interested. He said, I want to think about it and I'll let you know, so. If I don't hear within the next, I don't know, a couple of weeks, I may contact him again, but
seems
So-
fair and reasonable to me. Okay. So I did put together that, okay, so I think we're done on 268 State Road for tonight.
yeah,
I just want to make it close with a couple more things and make sure we've got our next meeting scheduled. But I did, so I'll just simply note, I did put that flyer together on the home modification loan program that Fred Orlowski tipped us off last time. Circulated that today, sorry. But so my feeling would be that I would have some things printed out and maybe posted at town offices, left at the library, maybe at, I don't know about other good places to leave some of these flyers just to raise awareness. And I do have the action next time. There's going to be a scoop deadline to get a little piece in that mentions this.
What about
And there's information about it posted on the Whately website off of our committee page. But we could still do more to raise awareness of that program, so.
maybe there's a way to get on the front end of the website rather than have to drill down to it?
Yeah, yeah.
I did like the fact that you could have income limits. This isn't necessarily for income restricted people, but up to 200% of the area median income. That's pretty good nickel.
Yeah.
Even factoring in assets, the computation of assets into it. So sounds great.
yeah.
So if you have suggestions tonight quickly about where we might circulate this, or just feel free to email me. Fred Orlowski.
Yeah, I was hoping that Peter would, our town administrator would say, yeah, we would put it on a town website, but he told me, like Jerry's saying, you drill down 3 or 4 different levels and you'll find something eventually on the town website. How many people are gonna do that?
Yeah.
I was lucky
Yeah,
to
we can
find
get
it.
that. Yep, we can get that. Just Montserrat, note in the minutes that will, that's, because I'm using the minutes as a action item reminder to myself. To try to get something on the front page.
Flash page.
Yeah, now that I have the flyer, we can link to the flyer off the homepage. At some point, as new items take over, it'll sink down, or it'll
Right.
fall off the radar. But we can get that advertised.
Right.
All right, so I think that's really all.
I've got one piece of
Gotcha.
information for everyone. The town should have a new community development administrator in place starting around December 15th. The select board has to formalize making an offer, but the person's name is Carolyn Gurek, and she seems to have a particular interest in housing.
You real local area person or?
She's been at UMass.
Okay,
And she lives in Amherst.
She lives in Amherst.
Terrific.
So
What did you say for a
hopefully
job
we'll-
title, Fred?
What?
What did you say for a job title? A new
Community development administrator. It's-
development administrator?
The select board has to formally approve making an offer on Wednesday, but there's no doubt that we will do that.
Okay, great.
okay.
All right. Go ahead. Who's that? Jerry?
I said, congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, let's hope we can hold on to her.
It's been a long process getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, the most recent round, we had 40 or 50 applicants, of which, a teeny fraction were even barely qualified. It's been a lot of, it's been a process. So our next scheduled meeting of the Housing Committee is on Monday, the 8th of December, which is still good for me. And it's to be followed by a meeting of the Housing Trust, our periodic meeting of the Housing Trust.
Didn't we decide to do the housing trust first and then the housing committee?
Yeah, I guess we did do it that way.
So the housing trust will be a
Open and shut
pro
case.
forma, pretty much pro forma session.
However, I did note to myself that the Housing Trust is obliged to provide a written report every 6 months to the CPC. So we're going to,
That report will be short.
yes, but that will have to be done by the Housing Trust at our next meeting. So does anyone have any concerns with December 8th? It's still outside of the holiday period. Can we all do that?
Yep.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right, so we'll set it up where the trust meets at 6 and for 15 minutes, and then the Housing Committee starts at 6:15.
Sounds good.
Okay, everyone. Then I have no other topics unreasonably anticipated. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
second,
All right, I hear Fred Orlowski seconded Montserrat's motion to adjourn. All in favor, just say aye.
aye.
Aye, yeah, that's good enough. We
Aye,
are
aye.
adjourned at 7:02 p.m. Thank you all, and see you on December 8th.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Aye.